isolated quite a bit on that right wing. Is that something you were aiming for, just what the game gave you?
No, it's what we looked at in the scout. That their back four really does get pulled across to one side, which leaves a lot of space on the weak side. We noticed in that when they played San Jose last week that was on a lot. So it was something we spoke about in the scouts. So it was good to see it. It was good to see us have some success doing it. We didn't score from it, but it was there, right? So we got some good moments from it.
And then when they went down a man, were you more focused on increasing the tempo of circulation or trying to get better positional sense? What were you looking for?
Playing fast, but also we took off both of our pivots and went with one pivot and went with 2 9s and 2 10s. So structurally we changed to get more people further forward, so we could be more aggressive in around their box and really kind of capitalize on their lack of, their loss of a player. It worked to a certain extent, probably not as much we would have liked, but I think that was more of a byproduct of the type of game it was. It was just a really bad game, very slow, very stop-start, very sluggish. So I think our guys found it hard to raise the tempo when it needed to be raised, because I just don't think the game ever really got going from the start. It was a lot of hesitation, obviously a lot of new players out there that haven't really played together. And whenever you do that, it throws things off a little bit mentally and physically and tactically. It wasn't for a lack of effort. It was just probably a lack of cohesion that led to just kind of hesitation, slow play, slow movements, or turnovers, right, that don't usually happen. So,
okay. Thank you. And twice the team came back from down a goal. What does that tell you about the mentality of your group?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I think, we probably should have won it as well, to be honest. I think we had, but they obviously had some shots too, but the one right at the end with Antonio through on goal, Antonio doesn't miss. So we'd all put our house on him scoring that. But I think, again, that was the type of day it was. Nobody really had a great game. Nobody was really super successful for 90 minutes. Everyone had some good moments. Everybody had some poor moments. So I think, like I said, that kind of played into the type of game it was, where he scores one and misses one. Where I think another day he probably scores that at the end. When the flow and the rhythm, and you're feeling good about things. But yeah, I think, another day we do win it. But I think that was just, like I said, a lot of things today was just a little flat. And I think it showed in those key moments.
And then last one for me, just how valuable do you think a match like that is for young players, with momentum shifts, the penalties, the red cards, the chirpiness from the benches, and the physicality on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, again, that added to just the element of strangeness of the game. I thought some of the fouls, they were awful. They were awful fouls. There was a tackle on Antonio in the first half. It's a red card.
All day.
Yeah, the guy's 5 feet off the ground and gone through him late. It's just, and then Antonio gets kicked again, late. It was malicious. It wasn't an accident. It was completely premeditated. And there was a few more of those moments where you're this, and that was in the first half, before the game had really kind of evolved into an emotional situation. It was, I'm not sure why those things happened, whether they came with that game plan or everyone was just really frustrated. So it kind of, manifested like that. I don't know why those things happened. I think the referee had a difficult time kind of dealing with that. And, and then they got the red card and that changed the game again. So just a lot of things today, like I said, with that chippiness. It's a lot of frustration, I think, manifested for various reasons. And it came out like that, which again affected the flow and the state of the game.
Was it? Do you feel like it's helpful for the development of the
players? That was the original question. Yeah, I do, because I think for us, what I was proud of, usually when the referee's card happy, we've got some guys on yellows, and the young guys, that can very quickly be 2 yellows for us. We did take Omar and Pablo off, who were both on yellows. There was a little bit of thought in that, because we saw kind of what was happening, and the referee was brandishing yellow cards, and without really thinking it through, Antonio was on a yellow and there was a bit of a skirmish, and I'm like, Antonio, get out of there. It's like them understanding, like I said, the state of the game, that the fact that they're on a yellow, they can't get involved in certain things. You can't leave yourself vulnerable to a referee's decision. particularly when the referee's shown that he can kind of be unpredictable with his decisions. So I am proud of the guys for not. It never felt like we were going to do something to make it 10v10, right? So I think the guys did a good job of managing that, because that game could have been 10v10, and that advantage now has now gone. So I think that's what these young players need to learn. We see a lot of young players picking up yellow cards, even at all levels, the academy level, the Monarchs level, and the first team level. They need to understand that, first of all, that accumulates over the course of a season to suspensions, right? So having that kind of long-term thinking, where that's tough for a young human being. When we were young men, we're thinking about right now. I'm annoyed right now, I'm going to kick somebody. Well, that yellow card you just picked up times 5 means now you're missing a game. So it's like you get 5 of those over the course of time, then there is a consequence to it, right? Maybe not in that moment, but there's a long-term consequence. So it's them understanding that part of the game is really important. I know that is something that this club has really, we spoke about it as a club. I know Jason's big on the discipline, and making sure that when the yellow card and the red card tail end of the season comes out, kind of we're on the right end of that, which would be getting less than most teams. That's the ideal situation. We're trying. I think the guys did a good job today, making sure it stayed 10v11 and not giving an easy second yellow away, which would have obviously, would have lost our advantage.
Thank you very much.
It does seem, kind of building off of that a little bit, just through these first 3 games of the season, it does seem like there have been some moments where the guys could get frustrated with fouls or style of play, or going down, giving up a goal off a man, that kind of thing. But they've been able to sort of rebound from that a lot of times. Like, is this a group that's kind of maturing pretty well, for lack of a better term, which is probably a weird word to use when you've got a lot of teenagers on there.
Yeah,
but is that kind of just a sign of maturity?
I don't think it's individual maturity. I think it's collective maturity. One thing that is, because of what's happened during pre-season, where a lot of our younger players have had opportunities with the first team, and they've been able to stay there. It's meant there's been a little bit less of kind of this movement of players on a daily basis. The first is obviously had injuries, they've had visa things going on, so that was their group, this was the Mars group. So with that, when you get to spend that time together, you kind of collectively grow and trust each other, and then go through moments together where you grow. So I think that's definitely been a big part this year, where I think we do have some more experienced players. And the guys that were here last season are a year old, so there is some individual maturity, but I think there's been more of a collective maturity about the group, and I think that's just because we've spent more time together now, which has been a byproduct of various things. But I think it has allowed this group to come together and okay, we're fine. Just keep doing what we're doing together, stick together. Let's show togetherness and unity in tough moments, and we'll come through it okay.